Hey, what's up you guys? If you're new here, my name's Gibby. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. It's been a while since I put out some content, not for lack of trying. We had a couple of Arctic blasts come through, and then we had an absolute deluge of water. My yard is still flooded from that, but we've got great conditions today, except for one thing. We're gonna have a rising tide all day. But that's okay, I don't mind fishing rising tide in the winter, and I'll explain why as we go through the video. Primary thing I want to do today though is try some different lures. If you've seen my previous videos, I've been fishing that H&H Kakaho, and you know, I might go back to it if these other lures don't work, but I've got an old lure that I used to try when I was a kid that we're going to try today. I'll show it to y'all in just a bit. Let's get to it. Now, I actually find this hard to believe, but I should have at least some footage of it, provided that my GoPro worked out. But there, oh, that's a dolphin right there. You know, see that on the point? That is a dolphin. This bayou is pretty small. The bayou there feeding at the intersection is even smaller. I cannot believe I'm seeing dolphins here. That's just a testament to how salty the water is inshore right now. I am maybe 5 minutes from the marina at that. I've caught bass here. So yeah, anyway, let me show y'all what I'm fishing with. This is an H&H salty grub. This, I have to be honest, when I first started inshore fishing again, which I don't know if I've ever given y'all my origin story here, but you know, I used to go fishing with my dad a lot up until the time I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old. I'm not real sure. My first 2 redfish ever were caught on this lure. I have been searching for this for so long, I just didn't know what it was called. And my dad did some sleuthing and found it. All I knew was that the color was called smoke, and I cannot tell you how many times I've Googled fishing lure smoke, only to come up with weird things. Now, some people say it's not good to fish around dolphin. Some people say, well, where there's dolphin, there's others. I guess I'm agnostic to it. I don't really know. I haven't fished near them enough to have a really solid idea. But what I can say is coming in here, I spooked an unbelievable amount of fish. So hopefully a lot of those fish are in this little bayou. This salty grub is paired with a H&H Pro Series 1/4 ounce jig head. And with this kind of flat tide condition we have right now, we're right in the middle of a tide switch. That's really all I need. I don't need anything heavier. It's just going to stick to the ground. Now, to go over the conditions, we are at the bottom of a falling tide. We are expected to have wind like you see and maybe hear right now, which is none all day. But also a rising tide all day. Outside temperatures right now in the upper 40s. We'll probably get to the 60s as the days, oh, there's something. Is this a fish? Yeah, it is. It's not fighting though. That was weird. I don't think it knew it was hooked. I certainly didn't know it was a fish. It's got to be a red. It could be a drum. It's fighting kind of drummy. That was maybe the weirdest hook set I've ever had. Well, I'll continue going over the conditions as I fight this fish. Anyway, it should get into the 60s today. And so with that, yeah, it's got to be a red. Very important that you wear layers in these conditions. It's pretty cold, chilly, I guess you'd say right now, for a South Louisiana boy at least. This might be a very big red. Listen to that, listen to that. Oh, we're gonna have to, he's gonna spool me. Oh my gosh. I just had to turn my spot lock off, so if he does start to make a big run like that again, he'll just pull my boat in, boat back there. And you can see my boat's starting to be turned. This is a big fish. That's why I didn't know it was hooked, and that's why he didn't know it was hooked. He was just laying on it. Now it's interesting, my arms are pretty much already tired. Speed up the trolling motor. But anyway, yeah, my arms are still pretty tired. I've had a plumbing issue at my house, and I've, not necessarily to save money, but to coax some plumbers to come work on it. I started doing a lot of the digging myself. And to top it off, when I was coming in here, I ran aground and I had to use the push pole to get out, which is why I would say push pole, probably the most important item you can bring when you're fishing inshore in South Louisiana in the winter. Second most important item, a can of compressed air. And hopefully I won't have to show y'all why that is today. But I will put out a video at some point explaining why that's such a valuable tool in the wintertime. Okay. Caught up with this fish. It's got to be a drum. I keep saying, yeah, it's a big red, but it's fighting so drummy. I can't see it. Cloudy conditions has visibility pretty low, but look at this thing. It is sticking to the ground. I got a glimpse of it, but I couldn't see color. Yep, big drum. Whew. That explains why he just sat on it. That's what they do. But normally they don't make big runs like that one. Either way, what a beast. Golly. How's that for the first fish of the day? Well, I said 30. This is saying 18. I don't know if I believe that it's 18, but there we go, y'all. Huge, big, ugly. That's just fish number one for the day. Oh man, I'm already so sore. Gotta check your line for frays. It probably won't come out in the video, but he had the lure in his mouth about to right here. And their mouth is basically sandpaper. So I'm just checking to see if the line's in good shape. It is brand new line. I've retied just a couple days ago. Oh man, I'm already breathing heavy. I swear I'm in better shape than it looks like, y'all. I've just gone hard this week. Okay, let's continue pushing in here. There's bait fish. I don't know how much it's coming out here. Literally everywhere. There's still a bunch of activity at the point there. Well, you know, my least popular video is a video of me catching a big giant drum like that. Not sure why people aren't so into it. I guess because we don't eat those fish. And, you know, I guess you'd say typically they're not the most exciting fight. Although that one, I really thought I was going to get spooled, y'all. I'm going to have to check my little scale there, though. There's no way that was only 20 pounds. Maybe it was 18 kilograms. I should do the math on that. That would make more sense. So we're gonna make our way to the end here. If you have seen the last few videos, I've always caught fish at the end. If I don't, it's gonna really kind of destroy my confidence in this lure, honestly. Yeah, I'm not seeing much movement in the water up there. Could be that all the bait are in the main bayou. And so that's where all our fish are. So this is a good example of you can't step foot in the same river twice. You can't go to the same spot every time and expect the same outcomes. The world is a incredibly varied place. Conditions are always changing. And those fish are always on the move looking for their next meal, just like you and me. All right, well, we went all the way to the back of this little bayou. You know, it's impossible for me to pass this place up as productive as it's been, but all things come to an end. This bayou just didn't have it today, and that's all right. But we saw just so much activity in that main bayou. I'm gonna get us, oh, there's something. Ripped it out of whatever that was his mouth. I don't know why I'm groaning like that. This is literally the first spot. We've only been fishing for like half an hour. All right, so last time we were here, we saw tons and tons of activity. I'm not seeing any right now. We're gonna make 3 casts. Just fan them around. Oh, I'm gonna spook something. Got it. I'm not sure what this is. It's got to be a red. Yep, that's a red. There we go. Nice. Nice. That was fun, man. Don't know if it's a rat, but it's not a huge one. Perfect eating size. I don't know. I said I wasn't going to keep any, but I might have to keep him. All right, last time I fought one like this, I lost it. We'll see if I do this. Same mistake again. He got a lot bigger when he saw the boat. Ooh, he barely hooked. He's hooked well, never mind. Multi-spotter too. Whew. I love catching redfish, but my arms are so dead right now. That's a 22-inch redfish. Let me get closer to y'all. "22-inch red." I don't know, y'all. What do you think? Should I keep it? Should I let it go? I think I'm going to keep it because I'm kind of getting the feeling that today is going to be slow. So I'm not going to waste my opportunity to go home with some fish. All right, we are at spot number 2. This actually isn't the intended spot for spot number 2. I mentioned in the previous spot I really want to catch some flounder, and this is where I've been catching flounder. In fact, it's these 2 bayous that I've been fishing in the wintertime where I always catch flounder. It's why I fish here. Now, I was actually nervous. You can look at this and you can get an idea of why I might have been nervous to come here. But actually, this is not bad. Now, I don't know if this will come out on camera, but you can see these bayous I'm targeting. Very, very shallow, and then a huge drop off. In the wintertime, that's all I'm fishing. Now, I've already gone back on my word on not catching not keeping a red, and I'm glad I did, because it does seem like today's going to be a relatively slow day. But I think what I'm going to do is crank the outboard and go to the other end of this bayou. I see something feeding over there. Something running right there. There's something. And it's a trout. All right. Well, we got ourselves a inshore slam. That's probably not a keeper with the new rules. Let's see. Yep, 12 and a half, so he gets to go back. Thanks for the fight, dude. It took me a little while to turn my trolling motor off, so I hope I didn't spook him. I'm really trying to get to the end of just buying new stuff for my boat, but man, foot pedal for my trolling motor would be ideal. Alright, so I used the outboard to kind of rush us out here. Nothing really remarkable to be seen. There's a complete circle rainbow around the sun right now with a crisscross plane pattern. It looks cool, neat little design that just happened. But wind is still not ideal, I guess you would say. We're in about 6 feet of water. Water temps, according to my GPS, are 58. That just cannot be right. Just can't be. I'm sticking with the smoky grub because that was really the plan for the day. It hasn't not worked. I can't say I've been in any spot where I feel like if I would have thrown something different, I'd have a different outcome. So we're gonna stick with it until we get to the end of this little bayou. So far, this grub has caught a speckled trout. Oh, that was one. Let me slow down. A speckled trout, a black drum, and a redfish. So we got our inshore slam. We're not laying the smack down by any means, but we're not getting skunked either. It's just a slow day, and some days are slow. You know, I think I started describing the conditions when I was fighting that drum. I probably left out some things, but the basic thing we've got going for us right now, there's one. There's one. This is a trout, I think, and it's a big one. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a big one. The net's not ready. Let's see if I can boat flip it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Monster trout. Absolute monster trout. Well, no, it's not a catch and release. It's a 16. Still a big trout. It's fat. Let me go show the camera. That, I don't think that was a good enough shot. That is why we're here. I mean, not fully. I really want to catch some flounder, but this is a great fish to keep. That trout is almost as big as the red that I kept. Not often that I get that in my box. So this is the H&H salty grub, they call it. I gotta be honest, I'm not sure if the tail should go like that or like that. Everything we've caught has been like that. That's how it looks on the package, at least. So, you know, who knows? But this is a lure that, you know, actually, this is such a cool story. So I've mentioned already, you know, the first 2 redfish I ever caught, I caught probably on this lure. And I am almost 100% certain it was this lure, because as my dad explains it, one of the reasons we couldn't find this lure is we didn't know if there was even a brand for it. And to be quite honest, I'm pretty sure the mold for this lure is not patented. So there are companies that can make this. It doesn't have to be H&H, I guess. But either way, my dad's story behind it is they would buy it for, there's one. This is another big trout. Or is it a bass? Can't tell yet. Big trout, I think. Fighting real good too. Taking a risk boat flipping. All right. Whew. Saw them skills. Soccer finally came in handy there, huh? All right. We are putting the box together. Anyway, as I was saying, my dad and his fishing buddies would buy these, in his words, at some bait shop off Choctaw, Baton Rouge. And they would buy them for real cheap. Well, you know, H&H headquarters is right near Choctaw in Baton Rouge. So I bet they were buying H&H smoky grubs. I'm going to say cockahoe. I've been fishing with that so much lately. But I bet they were buying these H&H smoky grubs in this color and this mold all the way back then. I think a lot of people, you know, we all know it's expensive, but what we don't really put together is that being sort of environmentally aware, limiting our waste, limiting our trash, also saves us money. And part of saving money can also just be saving money. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It doesn't have to be linked to, you know, any sort of grander environmental conservationist vision at all. So where am I going with that? This pack of smoky grubs, $3. You know, and that lines up with my dad's story of buying these. He said they would buy them real cheap. These are real cheap. I don't think you can find a pack of plastics like this for cheaper. And you know, I don't have a referral link for this. I had a really hard time finding them. You can only find them directly from H&H's website. So if y'all want to check them out, go there. I'm not going to link to it because, again, I don't have a referral link. H&H, where you at? But either way, these are super duper cheap. It's a really, really good way to get into fishing. Now, speaking of a good way to get into fishing, honestly never thought I would do this. Somehow I got sponsored. Well, kind of. This company, Placino, sent this to me. I was honestly skeptical. I'd never heard of them before, but they sent this to me and asked me to do a review, so here it is. This thing is actually pretty cool. It rips. I'm probably going to start using this as my primary tackle box when I go freshwater fishing, and let me show you why. So you've got this side where you can organize your jig heads and hooks, and they're not going anywhere, right? Like the way I go freshwater fishing, I carry a backpack and I just walk around. I almost never freshwater fish in my boat. The other reason this is real good for beginners is, check this out. This whole thing is about $30, and it comes with pretty much everything you would need to get started fishing. It's got clamps, it's got these little drop shot weights, and they have two different kinds. They've got split weights. They've got really kind of everything. The only thing it's missing is split rings. They've got swivels, all of that stuff. So if you think about that, $30 you get all of this, and it's so small it can fit into your backpack or anything like that. Super cool. I'm going to make a referral link and have that in the description. Thank you so much, Placino, for sending this to me. All right, well, I think we gotta keep moving. I tried to move us and anchor us, and I think I just moved us away from the bite. So we're gonna keep going. It really does seem like they're on this other side, though. Just how to be one with this world we live in, and there's one. Another trout. Oh, he got off. Okay, we found him, and we found the pattern. You know, as soon as I get into my hippy dippy stuff, we catch one. I guess we're gonna have to do spot lock. I don't really like doing that because it's so loud, but I'm unable to get the boat position using the power pole. But either way, yeah, Corey Sandhagen, he's got a lot of content. I'm gonna actually link to him in the description here. There's one. Oh, that was awesome. All right. surf this fish in. It doesn't look like a keeper. Yeah, it's too small. That is a 16, a 14, and an 8. See you later, little guy. That may be why it's hard to set the hook. But man, it is worth repeating. Going against the current, especially with this lure, seems to be working, but that's something that I find a lot. I prefer to throw against the flow of water. And I'll tell you exactly why. It'll make sense if you've never really considered it. Especially if you've got a paddle tail or a curly tail, something that has a lot of action. If you have that going against the current, you don't even have to move your lure. It's just going to be spinning if you keep your lure in place. So you can work a lot more slowly when you're going against the current. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but for lures like I'm using now, it's the way to go. Okay, I don't know if it's coming out on camera. There's some action on the bank over there, and that's what I'm trying to angle this to. Had a hit. Had too much slack. Got him. Boy, he hit it 3 times. Another trout. Look at this. Another nice trout too, man. Look at this. Now he actually swallowed it, or she, not sure which. Or almost swallowed it because I let it play around with it so much. Look at that. I bet that's a 15. $14.5. But it was right where I saw all that activity. Well, it may just be that kind of day where we just kind of pick them off spot to spot. But the old smoky grub, it's working, y'all. It is working. So I'll try to tie this into why I was talking about that Corey Sandhagen guy. He's got such a interesting perspective on the world and how it evolves and how it stays the same. I would say it's right in line with how I see things. And the way I'd tie that into fishing is, you know, a whole lot of this is about what gear are you using, what lure are you using, etc. I haven't thrown this since I was maybe 7 years old, which was over 30 years ago. And it still works. And I don't see any South Louisiana YouTuber throwing this. Why aren't they throwing it? Well, they're buying all this new stuff. And that stuff works too. I'm not saying it doesn't. But these fish, they're still fish. They have all the same patterns that they had 30 years ago, 100 years ago, etc. They're not going to evolve like bacteria and suddenly, you know, in a week just have this whole different trait. So if you've got old gear in your tackle box, try it. That's literally how I got turned on to the H&H Kakaho that I've been catching so many fish on. Just try those old things, because I bet you they work. And I know if they work, it's going to save you some money. There it is. Oh boy, he hit it hard too. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's awesome. When have you ever seen a redfish fight like that, y'all? That was great. Wow, I was literally just about to pull the trolling motor up and leave this little bayou. This thing came and smoked it. Smoked that smoky grub. Boy, listen to the wind. It has really picked up. Another multi-spotter. Man, I am just really catching a lot of them. Let me see. Show y'all the fish swimming in the water. Beautiful, beautiful blue tail. I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to tag and release it. Man, what an absolutely gorgeous fish. Alright, let's quickly get them tagged and then I'll show them to you. Alright, y'all. That is a 22-inch redfish. Let me see if I can show y'all how pretty that tail is. Look at that pretty blue tail. I mean, that's a prime specimen. Let's let it go. Alright, well, I don't know how much it comes out on the video, how covered in mud I am. Wintertime fishing, gotta bring a push pole. But either way, I'm here at some kayak spots, about 5 feet deep here. Looks like there's bait here, just like the last spot. So I'm trying to kind of figure out, why am I hitting these old kayak spots? I think I'm just feeling nostalgic, you know? I'm using this lure that, as I've probably said already, is the first lure I ever used to catch a redfish. I will never ever forget those redfish. I caught one after the other, 2 consecutive casts. I had never experienced anything like that. I think probably the biggest fish up to that point I had caught was maybe a 3 or 4 pound bass. And I'll never forget, the second one was the 25-inch, I believe. Doesn't really matter. But we got him in the boat. I went to grab my line to pick him up out of the net, and my line broke immediately when doing that. So if I would have fought him for just one more second, I would have lost him. Oh, wow. That thing just came up and grabbed it. Look at that. Nice trout, too. I was just reeling it in. Oh, yeah. That's a 14. But going this way, we do... Oh, that was a hit. Just about to say, we do what I was mentioning earlier. You go against the current. There's one. That's a red. That's a red for sure. Very pretty red. This is a bow flipper, I think. We barely hooked, it looks like. Whoa, we got him. Not gonna keep this one. I'm gonna tag and release it. It is a keeper though. He's stuck in the net. Well, that was a new one. I don't even know where I am anymore. He got twisted up in the net. Bet that's about a 17. On the money. Look at this beautiful tail. Gorgeous, gorgeous fish. We've kept it out of the water for a while. Let's let it go. Well, what a nostalgic trip, huh? Well, unfortunately, my mic got disconnected here and I didn't know, so I'm not going to do a normal outro. I'm having to do this with voiceover, but if you like content like this, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you later.